So here we go. Okay. So for those of you who don't know me, I am Marianne Linder with WEF staff. And on the phone today is Beth Mays, who is helping us through WEFTEC, kind of get us over the hurdle and make sure we make it to the finish line. And today's training is going to be facilitator moderator. I don't anticipate it'll take the full hour, but I am here for questions so we can take care of that. And we're recording this. A couple other things. You can put questions in the chat, but I will go through the presentation and then I'll come back to the questions at the end. So if you have a question, you can pop it in there so you don't forget it, but just know I'll come back to the questions at the end. So let me make sure it's sharing my screen. Yep. Okay, so I'm going to start. From beginning. Okay, hopefully you all can see this and we're good to go. So this is the moderator and facilitator information session for WEFTEC 24. So the first thing I just kind of want to clear up is, what do we as WEF staff mean, moderator versus facilitator? Because in many ways, you guys are doing very similar jobs. It's just kind of a differentiation of roles. So a technical session becomes interactive when we add in an attendee engagement activity, such as facilitate discussions, conversation input. And when you become interactive, you're no longer moderating the session. You need to facilitate it. And a woman I know, Liz Gulliver from Kunik, put this, I think, amazingly well. A facilitator is really the guide on the side versus the sage on the stage. So that's a facilitator. They're the guide on the side to keeping the session moving, keeping discussion moving. Whereas a moderator just often introduced speakers, made sure they got up, had their presentation, helped make sure a couple questions got answered and moved along. They don't have any discussions or attendee engagement to work through. So that's the difference. I do want to take 1 minute, even though we have kind of interactive training later in the summer, to go over some basic Facilitator 101. The first key to facilitation is that you're designing experiences that put the participant engagement, interaction, and very importantly for adults, self-discovery at the front. Adults learn by conceptualizing their learning. And so it's really important that they have someone who can kind of help translate and help them translate it. You don't translate it for them. They translate it for themselves. The other key as a facilitator is, don't worry about controlling or dominating the discussions. You have got other people in the room. So you're just, again, guiding conversation. Your third task is to create this safe space. You want people to feel like they can talk and share and ask those questions of each other and be very honest. And that's up to you to create that space. And I really love this one. You really need to be able to notice whenever the audience is grasping it and running with it. And let them talk amongst themselves. That's okay. And let them be like, oh, aha, and share that moment with each other. Like, this is big. This is how I would apply it in my particular world. So again, all of this kind of makes you the guide from the sideline, not the main character, so to speak. So now that I got that out of the way, now is the time when you should be contacting your session speakers. Introduce them, let them know. Do you prefer to reach out via email, phone, share, cell phone if you want, especially whenever you get to WEFTEC, that's really helpful. All speaker contact info can be found within the speaker portal. When we are done, I will do a very quick tutorial. There are in-depth ones available on weftec.org. We put up all of our trainings, and back in, I want to say April this year, maybe May, we did one on how to use the speaker portal and find this information. But I'll give you guys kind of an overview real quick. So right now, contact your speakers, schedule, especially if you have an interactive. If you have an interactive session, you're going to need 2 to 3 calls ahead of WEFTEC. If you're moderating, which means you have a traditional, 1 call would be lovely, would be nice, but you at least need to send emails. Interactive really needs several phone calls. For interactive or traditional, you really want to walk your speakers through the agenda. Let them know what to expect, how long to speak, how they can participate in the engagement. And you can always check in around due dates. And if you have a speaker that is not responsive, please email speakers@wef.org, and we will try to help shake the bushes and get someone to you. But the sooner you let us know if someone isn't responsive, the sooner we can try to make sure that we have a backup plan. So coming up very quickly, on Monday at 9 a.m., papers are due. Staff will handle follow-up to make sure that papers are submitted. If on the off chance we do not receive a paper, we will take a couple attempts to get it. And if we finally just can't get a paper, we will pull the speaker, but we will notify you along with the chair and vice chair of your symposia and just say, we didn't receive a paper. We never heard from Susan Merther, and we're removing her from the program. You now can decide either to end the session early or to whatever. I will say this because I see the question. Papers are required for anyone who submitted.
Come on in.
And invited speakers are optional. But you guys do not need to worry about that. We will. You are welcome to send reminders that papers are due. And please do not guarantee anyone an extension. If someone's like, I need an extension, you need to bump them to us. Please email speakers@wef.org and let us know that a person needs an extension. Otherwise, we see it. If we're not in the loop and we're not tracking these, we just think they're not turning into paper. The other thing is we only have so long that we can give extensions for because other staff must start work. And papers are due July 15th at 9 a.m. Papers become visible to moderators, facilitators, other speakers after we collect them all. And I'm pretty sure we've got the majority in. About a week later, I make them public. And they're available in the speaker portal for you to go in if you want to read them and see them. So a couple other upcoming dates that you guys need to be aware of. July 24th, they need to finalize who will be presenting. As you know, right now, we have a primary author, co-authors, potentially, and then who's presenting. We need the final speaker in there by the 24th of July is our ask. The system, and we allow for 2 co-presenters. Some people ask about a third. I really don't suggest 3 speakers per 1 presentation because what do you do if you have 10 minutes? By the time you rotate everyone out, you just don't have that. If you have a traditional presentation, maybe, but it's tight. So just be careful, and the system only accepts 2 names. August 1st, license agreements are due. Please note, neither you nor even the primary author can see that co-authors signed. We will manage that. It's just a reminder notification. You cannot check. Please don't ask us, did so-and-so sign the license? It's a very laborious process for us to verify by paper who signed. August 1, we've asked that the introduction for the speaker be uploaded, a photo, and we will probably redo the speaker demographics that we did last year. I have not, in full disclosure, activated those yet, and I realized I need to. On August 6th, I will be doing an interactive session training. So we will focus solely on the interactive sessions, how to run each format. We have standardized formats, so we'll go through those and some keys. The new one that I'm super excited to share with you guys that is nowhere, but on September 5th, we will offer facilitator training. Time is TBD. We are bringing in an outside consultant. I will be sending within the next week or so a pre-training survey. It's 3 questions, super short. It'll help him develop the training. So you'll have the survey in another week. Then in late August, you'll watch about a 30-minute video ahead of time. That's kind of the baseline information. And then on September 5th, there will be a live webinar with Jeffrey, is his name, and you can ask questions, ask clarification. We just want to make you guys feel comfortable as facilitators. We're going to invite facilitators, assistant facilitators, moderators, and assistant moderators, because our hope is to make everyone start to feel more comfortable in this facilitation journey. And then we'll also invite workshop chairs and vice chairs to this. 2 options. At WEFTEC, we do a pre-WEFTEC briefing online. One, you have 2 options. We ask that you and your speakers attend. You guys don't need to attend the same one. You just all need to attend these. They are going to be identical. We have option 1, option 2. The sign up for these is within your packets and within the speaker packets. So within all the packets that we have, and you can go in and sign up for them, but save the date, make sure you register, and please attend. We'll go over last minute information, changes, anything like that. I have asked that PowerPoints be given about a week solid of WEFTEC, week and a half due date. Those are for you guys to be able to go in and you'll be able to look at them and make suggestions or look between all 3 of your presenters and look for duplicative information. The upload for that should open by later August, mid to late August, and you will have access as a moderator facilitator through the speaker portal. And very importantly, I want to highlight this Friday is the end of the Super Saver rate for WEFTEC. Registration is required for speakers, moderators, facilitators, and at that, it is full conference. Expo only will not work. Exhibitors get access to sessions, but Expo only does not. So if you want the best rates, register by Friday. I believe floating on social media are some codes if you are not a member for discounted membership, but you will save. Please do not wait until the last minute to register. I will say the rates, if you register in the last couple weeks, are significant in terms of fees for registering. So register early. I sent a reminder to speakers on Monday, as well as you all. So please do register as it is required. So I'm going to take a pause for a minute and I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to go into the speaker portal for you, just to make sure that you all know where to find information. impersonate. All right, so I've got this up. Today, we are going to pretend I am John Willis. John, if you are on here, I apologize. I'm being you today. So,
knock yourself out.
oh, thank you, John. Yours is just easy. When you come in, you'll come to this screen. I would recommend that you suggest to your speakers that they make sure their contact info is up to date, that it has their cell phone in there and their company. Quite a few companies this year are empty. We had discontinued that portion of the single sign-on due to some back-end issues that have been somewhat resolved, but I just couldn't reactivate it. So if they want their company to show anywhere, they need to put it in here. Please encourage them to. But you really want to click on Speaker Portal. This is where you're going to find all the good stuff. Here are the guidance documents, what your speakers should have read, moderator, facilitators. In case someone's a workshop, here's your workshop one. If you have an interactive session, I highly recommend that you download this as well. That's for workshops. Here's our papers information right now, license FAQ, and then we're already getting questions. Here is the workshop and then the session PowerPoint template. These are optional, not required, but highly recommended for people to use. Once we activate the presentation upload, that will appear right here as a giant button in the middle. It'll say upload presentation or something like that. It'll be right there. So to find out information on your session, you click on the title of it. Expand this. Tells you what type of session it is, session description, learning objectives. Please, when you talk to your speakers, really ask them to support these learning objectives. When we do the overall WEF survey about WEFTEC, this couple areas that we suffer in. One is knowledge that you can take home and use. So encourage them to work through their messaging so there's like one key message that they are sharing and really hitting home and building their presentation around that's usable. But make sure in some way everyone's supporting these learning objectives. These are not just dreams. We don't make these up. They should have been developed with you guys. So please look at that. The session guide is very short this year, really for the interactive, because this tells you it's an interactive technical session. You want to look at the interactive session guide. Facilitators, all of that, but the information you're going to want is here. So you can use, if you click on someone's name, it brings up phone, email, and if they have a bio.
You just muted yourself, Ann.
Yep, there. Hopefully did that work?
Apologies, that was me.
That's okay.
I wanted to just chime in, Marianne. I think you might be looking at another screen.
Thank you.
That they can't see.
Yes, thank you. Let me reshare.
Thank you.
Thank you. I forget Zoom does this. I don't love it. So I clicked on the name, and now you guys should see Rexel Botter. And here's the email, the phone number, the bio. That I will say, it'll be after August 1st, just a couple days after, we will pull all of the bios and we will create for each session a list of your bios. So if speakers are in there by then, we will have their bio and provide it to you. If they come afterwards, they can upload it, but we will not keep track of it if they miss that August 1st deadline. And we do not have printers for you guys to use on site to grab these that come in late. So if someone comes in late, please have them either email it to you or pen and paper still works. So just have them write down like 4 bullets that they want you to share. But after August 1st, we've got to move through and get ready all the bios because we have to stuff folders. So tell people August 1, get those bios in. But here's where you get the contact info. I'm going to have to stop share again. Okay. Sorry, it's just what happens with doing AI or Attendee Interactive. So you can see all of your people, authors. Again, for us, I've been contacting the authors because papers are due. So that's who I've been contacting. After the papers are due, I will be contacting the speakers. A lot of times, as in this one, if you look, the author is also a speaker, but there's an additional speaker. A common problem, if you hear, only the author can upload a paper. No co-authors can. So in case someone's like, I can't get my paper in. Yeah, make sure they're not a co-author. But this is how you get the information. When the papers, when I make them public to you all, you will click on the title of the presentation. And at the top of that, there will be a little like download me, it may say presentation. I'll give you specifics, but that's where you'll find the paper. And that'll come about 2 weeks after the paper deadline. It'll take us to get everyone through, make sure they're all uploaded, get everything processed. So about 2 weeks later, I usually make the papers available to you all as a courtesy. So I think that's the formal presentation. I'll stop sharing and I will go to the chat. Maybe. So someone asked about sharing these slides. Yes, we will share the slides and the presentation, and I'll email you all when it's up and available. Question about papers being optional. Let me walk through what we've asked this year. If you submitted an abstract, a paper is required. If you're an invited speaker, which there aren't a ton of them, but there's some, it's optional, highly encouraged. The minimum is 4 pages. It's not too long. If you are a session proposal, they have the option to either submit individual papers or a session level paper. And I think I may have Dallas, I think you're with EPA.
Yes.
Yeah. You guys reach out to me separately. That's
Perfect.
send me an
Okay.
email to M. Linder.
Okay. Thank you.
I'll put in my. So that's kind of the way this cascades out. So another question, the August 6th training, the interactive, I did not do invites. All of it, well, I didn't do personal invites. The link is within the speaker portal in the moderator, definitely in the facilitator guide. You will find the link to register for the event. I'll probably send it out shortly. The September 5th event, we haven't nailed down the time yet. I am working with the trainer and I will send out like a blast email, hopefully with the survey in the next week. So you'll get the time on that. So the great question is, should we contact the author or the speaker? At this point, so if you're reminding them about paper deadline, contact the author. After July 15th, just reach out to the presenters, speakers. Don't worry about the author. They may be the same people, but you need to make sure that if they aren't, that you're using the speaker. I hope that helps a little bit. Someone asked, what's the assistant facilitator / I would also say moderator role compared to the lead or moderator role? The difference is moderators and lead facilitators, they have overarching responsibility for the session. And then the assistants, or we do assistant facilitator and assistant moderator. They come in and they're there to help. If you're an assistant, please email your moderator or lead facilitator and say, hey, I'm the assistant. How can I best help? What would you like me to do? Some of them will ask you to help set up calls ahead of time. Some of them will ask you to do tracking down of things, right? It's kind of whatever they need help with and need to work through. On site, they can ask you to on site, maybe they'll have you do some of the intros, or someone should be in the back of the room welcoming people even after the session gets going. That's just a lovely touch, right? That we don't probably do enough of. Have someone up front and then have someone in the back just helping people find seats and get comfortable and feel welcome. That helps create that safe space that we're looking for, right? We no longer do exact counts of the room. If you've been around the block for a long time, you probably remember we used to ask for after each speaker or during it how many people were in the room. We just ask for, is the room quarter, a half, 3/4, or full? So, and I do like the feedback forms from all of the facilitators or moderators, assistant or not. It's great feedback for us. So you will do that on site. So really, you guys need to talk together and work together in concert. Are there any other, what is our policy regarding recording speakers' presentations? They are not to be recorded unless, so for instance, we've had a firm reach out to us and say they want to record a few of their own staff. In that case, we are working through that issue, but no one should be. I would suggest, and we'll put this in the moderator notes for this year, at the beginning, please announce that you may not record. That is not allowed. This is someone's work, right? It's their thoughts, their product, their copyrighted material in essence. So if you see a lot of it starting to happen, you can pause the session and you can say, hey, I'm going to say we need to stop recording. If someone is egregious, I will make sure and provide my cell phone in the materials, because the easiest way is for you, when you're sitting in a session, to text me, and one of the staff can come and really deal with the person. Someone else suggested that assistants are really helpful at either timekeeping or, just coming up to someone and say, hey, you can't record this. Sometimes people do it because there's a language barrier, so it's not necessarily malicious. So if we ask nicely and then we escalate it as need be, it's always a good idea to do that. And exactly spot on, having people keep time. We will give you guys in a folder on site time cards so you can flip them up and show people how long they have left to speak. Any other questions? I will say the August 6th training, a question about the invite. It is in the facilitator packet and the speaker packet. If you go in there, there's a section on trainings. Likewise with the pre-WEFTEC briefings, the links are already in there. You guys just get them and you guys can register for the Zooms and add them to your calendars. The only one that we don't have out yet is that September 5th because it's just being added right now. But the others are in the packets for you. So you can grab the links, register, and get them on your schedules. Mark, you have a question. Can you email me? I'll look at your session and double check everything and make sure we also have it right, because I just want to make sure it's correct in Attendee Interactive. So if you email me, that would be great. And likewise, if someone ever has a specific question about your session, how it was laid out, how to run something, please email us. We are a little slow sometimes, but I promise we'll get there. I'm going through emails, trying to right now, and we will do our best to get to your email and answer the questions. But we're happy to help with that. Like, okay, this is how you can run it. I would encourage, you know, after the papers are due, I believe everyone needs like at least a week off or two from writing their presentations. They've done Herculean work. They deserve a little break. Plus it's summer, and at least here in DC, we're sweating to death. So everyone should go enjoy a little bit and then work on the presentation. But especially in an interactive session, have everyone get together on one of those calls and talk about their PowerPoints. They have written a paper which hopefully offloads some of the really minutia, and the presentation should tell more of a story, right? Shouldn't be, a PowerPoint should not be a cookbook. It should not be every ingredient and here's how you do it. The PowerPoint should tell more of the broad strokes, and hopefully their paper goes into the in-depth detail. But if you can work with a shorter presentation, just minimize everyone saying, well, my plant is this, and it's this, and we do this. Like, try to minimize some of that and think through that. I will say there's one change that I'll say now, and I will say it at the WEFTEC pre-WEFTEC briefings. And this is why you probably want to make sure you have your presenter's cell phone. For those who have been around a long time, you'll remember we used to print out the sessions and have them highlight the speakers when they arrived in. We're not doing that this year. We're not going to have the boards. The usage of that had just had gotten worse and worse. So the sign that someone is coming is going to be that they have a presentation in the system and orchestrate, which you guys as moderators, facilitators will have access to see. And we do ask for a draft, so at least you have that. But for those who've been around for a long time, we will not have that this year. We're making changes. So if there are no more questions, please feel free to email us. Beth has been great learning her way around things, and the two of us will do our best to get back to you as quick as we can. So thank you all, and we'll see you again in no time. Have a good one.